Hey guys, it's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today I am here with two special guests, the iconic Bravo Bros. Welcome.
Hey,
How's it
thanks. That's the
going?
first time I've been called iconic. I love that.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
let's keep
guys,
more of that.
you guys are legendary. I'm honored
Wow.
that you guys want to come on here.
You need to intro for us like every time we do anything. Like if I
Okay,
want to hire you to like if I walk in a room, be like the iconic. That was so I feel amazing about myself right now. Thank you so
I'm
much.
glad.
Yeah, we're gonna have to hire you for any live show that we do moving forward too. You're gonna have to set up the stage, make sure that everybody knows who's coming out, and then that's a great lead off. I don't know how we can do better than that.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. Welcome. We're here to have a good time. I know you guys have a lot of opinions about everything. Let's start off with the Real Housewives of Potomac. I want to get your thoughts about Juan and Robyn. That is a huge topic right now. I personally feel like Robyn is delusional. I feel like it's low self esteem. The fact that she wants to believe this crazy story that Juan is spitting at her and she's upset with the other women for addressing it, it's mind boggling. I want to get your thoughts on what you think.
Shooter, why don't you go first? Because I get a little
Yeah,
emotional about this topic, if you want to put
yeah.
it that way.
Steele's a hot little potato, so I feel like if I lead it off, we'll ease into it, and Steele can
Sounds
kind
good.
of collect his thoughts, so he doesn't just completely blow up. But yeah, I mean, I've been through it with this. We talked about it after the first episode because they had that awkward exchange in the beginning of the season, kind of sets the tone. And I was fully convinced, all right, this is a full on arrangement. They're just doing a charade right now. Juan is not doing such a great job. He's just sitting over there. He clearly doesn't care, as much as he said in the second episode. And Robyn is doing a terrible acting job, and she's not telling anybody about this. This is their little secret, and they don't want anybody else to find out. Even her closest friends can't get close enough to find out what's going on. That's how I was after episode one. After episode one, I was fully on board with that. I
Mhm.
am so goddamn confused now. We went through that second episode, another awkward exchange. Here, let's throw another one to them. Like it wasn't awkward enough. Let's do another one. It doesn't make any sense. And Steele talked about it in the first episode, thinking, well, I think Robyn is just completely so down and she just doesn't know what to think and she can't formulate any opinions. She can't get her emotions out. She's not speaking normally. I thought that that was part of the arrangement. I thought she was just doing a terrible acting job. Now I'm on board with. I think Robyn is completely damaged. I think that Juan for years has just been doing whatever the hell he wants. And yeah, she's turning a blind eye because she wants this family life. And Juan really does not care. It's crazy that I've taken such a turn. I've done a complete 180 on it. And it was funny because Steele and I were just like ships passing in the night, really, where he was firmly on the stance of Juan is an asshole and he's doing all of this right now. Episode one. By episode two, he's like, could be an arrangement. I completely flipped to the other side. So it's really funny that the two of us just completely switched sides on it. But I don't know what to think. And I'm afraid that we're gonna just go through the gambit all season long and never really get any answers. But I think at most what I want now, I just want Robyn to open up and be real. Just tell us what the hell's going on because then at least the way that we watch shows, we can be analytical about it. Is she actually showing true emotion or is this part of the act? Is she just kind of pushing things in different directions? I need her to finally break down. And I think, on this type of show, we're always going to get that. I foresee that we're going to be on some trip at some point in the season and she's going to be sitting at dinner and this whole thing's just going to come crumbling down. But we need that as viewers because we're so invested in this and we're so tied to it. And we've been hearing about Juan for years. We need some sort of hard evidence, whether it comes from Robyn or somebody else. We just need answers, and we're not going to get it from Juan because he just doesn't care.
Yeah, and oh, go ahead.
No, no, it's you. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. So I did a lot of thinking about that. I told Shooter yesterday I was thinking about Craig and Paige's relationship during my workday when I had nothing to do with Bravo. Like I was at the gym training. And yesterday I was consumed with Juan and Robyn. And this morning I was consumed with Juan and Robyn. So like these topics get stuck in my head. And after we both kind of changed sides, like I said, or like Shooter said, in the beginning, I was fully on board. The Robyn is just getting her ass kicked by Juan. It sucks to see. Then episode two, I went to the arrangement side. Shooter went from arrangement to relationship, as he said. But I thought about it a lot today, and I'm back on the side of this is just Robyn's emotionally beaten down. And I think that when you see this from the perspective of she had to go through one marriage with Juan already, and that marriage ended the way it did, with infidelity, with lies, with cheating, stuff like that. So I think that that sent her for such a loop that when they went down this road again, things start to reappear. She starts to see patterns again. She's starting to notice things. She's seeing pictures in the public. She's hearing rumors. It's starting to just cycle. And I think that there's a lot of layers to this. I think that if you look at it from the standpoint of, if I was in that position, if I was Robyn and this shit happened again and I married this guy again, I look so dumb. And that sucks because it's not her fault that he's stepping out on her and being just the biggest asshole on the planet. It's not her fault. But at the same time, it reflects directly on her and her decisions. And I think that's the toughest part for me to watch. Is Robyn forthcoming? No. Is she easy to watch? No. Is she easy to get along with? No. None of those things. She's not a very likable character for a lot of people. However, nobody deserves to go through this. And when you watch them interact like we did yesterday, and you see Juan, he does not care. I don't care how it looks. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. It's like, dude, you should, because it's your wife. It's not about you. And that's what shows more than anything with Juan Dixon. He's only concerned about himself. He doesn't care how it affects Robyn. He doesn't see the fact that it's not about even if you cheated or not, which you clearly did, by the way, but it's not about that. It's about the fact that you're making Robyn look dumb. You're making her look like an idiot in public with these other women, and you don't care about it. You have no feelings on the matter whatsoever. And then you try to like flip it into a fun game where you're like, come on, Robyn, get mad at me. And that puts her in a position where now she can't, because you're making a joke out of it. And when you look at her, like, I'm a big like body language guy. I always read body language on this show and try to like see how people are feeling, and I'll comment on it. She doesn't make eye contact with him during these interactions. She kind of looks down. She's very soft spoken. She's not speaking her truth or how she's truly feeling. I really don't believe she is. And to watch a man like with that much control over the situation when he's just being disgusting, whether he's cheating or not, his behavior is still disgusting. It really sucks. I actually feel for Robyn. I don't like the Green-Eyed Bandits. I never have, but I feel for Robyn. I think that she is at a point now where she's conditioned. He's conditioned her to react and respond the way that she is. And it sucks. And it's a really bad look for dudes everywhere, because it's like, especially you get the professional athlete thing. They're like, see, this is how men are. It's like, no, they really aren't. This is just a really bad example of a dude. And the thing that I do know for certain, which is kind of comforting, Juan will continue to look like shit over and over again and just confirm that he's a piece of shit. So like, I feel for Robyn, but I can't wait to watch Juan get his comeuppance.
I feel like he's already getting his comeuppance with the lawsuit. And I wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying about Robyn being beaten down. I feel, well, some of my subscribers pointed out that they feel like she feels guilt because she lost their money when they were married the first time. Do you think that that is a factor that comes into play about why she might feel like she has to stick by his side now?
Yeah, I mean, it could be some of that, and it could just be her envisioning this life for herself. And yeah, maybe she does feel like she owes him something because of what they've gone through. But again, I mean, we've seen the same behavior from Juan all the time. And Steele and I talked about it on our show. He lives this life of some like NBA superstar. And he's not. And he never has been. I looked up the stats the other day. He averaged 8 points a game for fucking 9 years. He stinks. He's not good, but he lives this life that he's like bigger than everything else. And he's just not. He's really not. And he gets caught red-handed. He makes jokes. He blows up and says that he doesn't care. I don't really know what's going through Robyn's head. And that's, I feel like, the hardest part to kind of grasp onto here. We see so many mixed signals. And when she sits down with everybody else, with Charisse, with Ashley, with Gizelle, who have gone through similar things, she can't even open up then. I mean, the three of them were opening up and bringing up raw emotions that maybe they haven't dealt with, Charisse in particular. And she sat there and did nothing. She didn't say a word. So I don't know why she's keeping the silence. Whether she believes Juan inherently for some reason, I can't imagine why. And now I'm kind of flipping myself all the way back to the arrangement thing. They could have a Will and Jada thing going on that we just didn't know about. Maybe they decided to get married for tax purposes and we just don't know that. That makes sense. That's why the wedding was so rushed and it just happened to be, it was supposed to be in the Bahamas and now we can't do the Bahamas. So we're going to do it in our backyard on the bay. Okay, sick. So you're going to go ahead and do that and rush all of those things. That to me indicates, all right, we're going to do this for, the good of our family, sure. Financial situation, sure. But I feel like there's a chance that they've just really been disconnected for years. And the worst part about this whole thing now is Juan doesn't have to answer any questions. As soon as he starts up, he just says, I don't care. I'm not going to answer these questions. You can have as many pictures of me in public with another woman as much as you want. I'll give you a quick answer and say she's a coworker. I'll say that she's a friend. I'll say that she's some random girl that I felt bad with, that she lost her wallet in a casino. That's the dumbest story of all time. But he clearly does not care. And Robyn is the one who has to sit there and answer all of these questions. That's when I feel bad for Robyn. If that is truly what's going on and this is a full-on arrangement and you don't want to blow it up, then you can't, because again, if it's for tax purposes, you really can't. But if you want to do that and you can't answer questions, that's gotta suck.
I
And
agree.
there's some rumors out there that they're saying that they got married as fast as they did because a wife can't testify against a husband in a lawsuit or in criminal or in court or whatever. So there's speculation. I don't know if there's any truth to that one. I don't really believe that's why. But people were saying if the lawsuit went through and he was implicated in it, that way she wouldn't be able to testify against him or something like that. I don't know if it's that deep, but for the money thing, like if she feels some kind of guilt, could I see Juan weaponizing that against her and saying like, well, we're in this situation because of you? Yeah, without a doubt. I could see every single argument going that way if it comes to finances whatsoever, whether it's a grocery bill or whatever. Well, we would have enough money for it if you didn't blow 90 grand or whatever the fuck he wants to say. That's such an easy go-to for him. And the type of person that Juan Dixon is, he would 100% lean on that. So yeah, I'm not even imagining that that's happening. I believe that is happening. I believe that that's being held over her head by him. I also feel that she just feels that way regardless, because I think anybody would. If you lost that amount of money, you'd be like, damn it. I would always feel guilty, like I owed the other person something, which I wish she understood that in a marriage, especially since they cleaned the slate and tried to do this again, it's a two-way street. People make mistakes. Your job as a spouse is to support your spouse. Sickness and health, that whole thing, the whole thing you're supposed to say, the vows, the most important part of it, support your significant other, support your spouse through everything. Shit happens. You lost money. Get it back. Work together. Don't fucking berate her for it, and don't use it as a weapon against her.
True, I guess because it was such a significant amount of money, and that's what put them in the poorhouse. It wasn't like it was just like 90,000, but they still had
What
money.
was it?
It was like I think it was like what, like $500,000 or $1 million.
Yeah.
It was a large sum of money, and it was like that was like their last bit. So they were, they kind of leapt into poverty after that whole thing happened. The house got foreclosed on. It was just like a series of just like unfortunate events. So I feel like she feels like that was a catalyst of all that went wrong after she invested that money with their friend. And then the guy, the guy, he took his life. So it was just a lot that's going on. So I feel like she's carrying all of that because it wasn't just a
Right.
small amount of money.
And I can understand that, but at the same time, who's the breadwinner now? Who's making the money now
Yeah.
for the family? It's Robyn.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like she's the one on the show. She's the one. We talked to Chris Bassett last year, and he said that the hat business that she runs is very successful. Doesn't
Mhm.
sell the ones with the liner inside. So while I can definitely see her feeling some remorse and guilt for that, who wouldn't? It's a lot of money, but at the same time, she wasn't doing it in bad faith. Like she was
No,
trying
of
to make
course.
an investment. It was a
Of
poor
course.
investment. Didn't work out. Shit happens once again. But now, if you want to talk about, which it shouldn't be atonement, she shouldn't be put in a position with her husband to atone for making that mistake, especially if they did again get married. They got married twice. So if it's now like new nuptials, you got to move on. You got to move past that. And on top of that, if there is some feeling where she needs to atone for losing that amount of money, you are the main provider in the household now. You're making good money on the show. Your other business is successful as well. You've done enough. You've done enough. You shouldn't have to prove yourself to a guy that doesn't give two fucks about you. He does not care about you. So no, I really wish you wouldn't harbor that guilt. Do I see where you're coming from? Absolutely. And I'm sure that you're right. That sounds like that's probably what's going on in some way. And that's a shame, because I think that an untethered Robyn, if she wasn't attached to Juan, if she wasn't constantly playing defense and constantly just in a state of not feeling good because of this man, I think we'd have a much different show from her. I think she would have a lot more support. You know, look at Gizelle. Like, is she my favorite? No. Is she good for the show? Yeah, she's great for the show. She does a good job. She knows her role. She plays it well, I think. But when you come to Robyn, it's like, what does she bring other than the drama between her and Juan? Not a whole lot. And I need more out of her. And I think that the longer the shit with Juan carries on, we're not going to get anything.
Mm-hmm. Shooter, I know that you had something to say when Steele brought up Gizelle. I'm dying to hear it.
I mean, we know what Gizelle does, but there's somebody on every single show that does the role that Gizelle does, where she is always in the mix. And the thing that always comes to mind with Gizelle for me is that dinner that Ashley had last year when she was trying to spew the rumors of her friends being hit on by Eddie, being hit on by Chris. Steele and I talked about this yesterday. I don't understand why we needed that scene in the first place. It was just to throw those rumors out there, but it was Ashley and Gizelle with 4 girls that we have no idea who they are. Sesame Street characters, if you will. Yep. And they're sitting there talking about all these rumors and saying that Happy Eddie was hitting on me and Chris was hitting on me, and they weren't. And there's footage that shows that they were not. Mm-hmm. We don't need that scene at all. But why was Gizelle there? Giselle's there because we know Gizelle is going to take that information and tell everybody. And there's somebody like that on every single franchise. And I understand, the importance of her role, I guess, if you will. And some situations call for it more than others. I don't really think that Gizelle personally brings anything to the show except for that. There's no personal storylines at all. She goes in. Steele and I even we like the scenes where she talks to her daughters. They're fun. I like that. Did I need the scene with her in the beginning of the season with her new boo? Nope. Definitely didn't need that. That was uncomfortable as hell. And we know where Jason came from, and we know what Jason's ulterior motive is. Maybe maybe they're having fun now and they actually like each other. However, that's not how it started, and we know that. But other than that, what does Gizelle actually bring to the show? Really nothing.
That's putting it mildly.
Oh, okay. There you go.
That's putting it mildly. I think that there's a way to do everything. Obviously, yes, you have each person with their designated role on each show where, you have the pot stir. Gizelle, I think, takes it 10 steps too far, her and Ashley. I feel like some stuff is just like, okay, this is just kind of cruel. You're going too far. We've seen it since the beginning. You have Ashley talking about, Juan and Robin only have $25 in the bank account. Remember that? Then you have, fast forward to season 6. They're both saying that Eddie had a side chick and a side baby. And then they're upset when Wendy blows up and gets mad at them. And I just feel like every season, the motive is to take down someone's family or their marriage. And it's like, okay, when do we get to a place where it's like, we can have some fun shade, but it should never cross a certain line. And I feel like after, season 6, last season was hard to get through with what they did to Eddie again, and then Chris Bassett. I watched Chris Bassett's interview on your show, which I thought was great, but I just feel like they just go too far with certain things. And I feel like we're going to be crossing that line again this season. And since we're talking about marriages, I wanted to quickly pivot over to, what do you think about Ashley and Michael? Are we believing this whole thing about them being divorced or getting a divorce? I want to hear what you guys have to say. I think it's BS.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Ashley's going to actually push that button for divorce until she pretty much has no other mode. Like, she has nothing left to do. Yeah. That's the only thing. She's going to continue to collect that money, the financial security of having Michael on my mortgage loan. Okay, I can get that. And that, I think that's the funniest thing of all, because I'm not an Ashley fan at all. I feel like for all of the points that you just made, whenever she's on TV, when she's not stirring the pot and making shit up, she's just annoying as hell. Yes. She's just annoying as shit. Like, I do not care about anything you're doing.
The TikToks, dude?
No, I don't like the TikToks. I don't care about your seaside in the city. That makes no sense to me. I just don't really give a shit about anything that you're doing. And with Ashley, she never tells the truth. Even when we're talking about Michael, this is something that we've been watching for years. We understand what kind of guy he is. That is one of the most disgusting human beings that's ever been on Bravo, if not the most disgusting, honestly. and he's
gross,
he's
dude.
in
He's just a gross
yeah,
human.
and he's on the same network as Tom Sandoval, and he's the most disgusting person on the planet. So he's in this show. You're not running away from this guy, and you're saying that you wanted to guise it under financial security. I think she likes where she is now. I think she likes that I've got the kids. And I hate saying this, but it's almost like she's holding the kids hostage. I'm going to hold on to the kids, and I'm going to go ahead and take care of these children while you go do whatever the hell you're going to go do in your weird apartment downtown. I'm going to take care of the kids, but you need to send me all of this money and you need to sign every loan that I'm going to do. And I'm still going to be able to go out and have boyfriends like Luke and like whoever else that I'm going to date from Bravo, because those are the only people that'll probably want to touch me. So
And
there you go. Yeah, exactly. But she drives me up a goddamn wall. And I was hoping that maybe this season could have been a little bit of a break, that she's going to change a little bit. You know, she's got her own space. She's really excited about her house. I found myself even getting more excited because she had a house. I'm like, you know what? Good for Ashley. Maybe she'll turn a new leaf. No, she just starts it right back up again. She's starting to pit people against each other like only Ashley can do, where she then goes to a confessional and admits. How many times do we talk about people on these shows not rewatching the season and saying there's so many things in confessionals that you can nitpick and just say, this is crazy. You knew that you were lying and you went to a confessional 2-3 weeks later and sat down and said, I was lying. Like, that's crazy. How do people not have your MO by now? So if I'm, and kind of touch on a different scene from this last week, if I'm Wendy sitting down with Ashley talking about NECA, I'm not going to believe a goddamn word she says until I talk to NECA myself.
Same.
Yeah, and I think that the MO with Ashley, and we talked about this on our show yesterday. I truly don't think that she knows in the moment, and this is not a cop-out by any means. This is just how her brain works. I think she's wired to start shit. So, like, I think when she sees an opportunity to manipulate a situation or to talk some smack and push the needle further, I think that she just instinctively does it. I think she's like, ooh, this will be good. Ooh, this will be good. And then she looks back at this giant flaming pile of shit and she's like, oh God, look at the mess I made. Nice. Like, she's stoked because she's like, that's good TV. I'm doing really well. And no, it's not good TV and it's not fun to watch because it's not scripted, but it seems scripted because we know how it's going to go. We know what she's going to do. We know what her moves are. And as far as her and Michael go, Shooter said it perfectly. No, she doesn't want out of this thing. She wants it exactly the way it is. It's perfect. She has her nice house. She's got the kids. I do think she loves the children. Like, I think that she's a good mom. Like, that's separate. But she's got everything she wants. Why would she get divorced? If Michael's not clamoring for this divorce, and I'm sure he's not, because if it gets down to it and it goes to trial or to court or anything like that, I guarantee that she can dig up some shit on him that would get her out of that prenup and get her some cash, because we know he's got skeletons in his closet. We've seen his ass cheeks all over Instagram. You know what I mean? So, like, there's no way that he wants this to go south. So he's going to do whatever he can to keep her happy, keep her to the side. She gets the house, she gets the money, she gets the kids, she gets to date, do her thing. It's a win-win for her by staying with him. The only thing she's going to have to figure out is how to sidestep the questions from Karen. Because the Grand Dame's not going to let it go. Every time she sees her, are you divorced yet? Are you divorced yet? Are you divorced yet? And every time she says no, she has a big reaction. She's like, oh my God. Like, yeah, she just loses it every single time. So that's her only obstacle, really, that's blocking her from this perfect life, is keeping people from asking about it. Because I believe in 10 years, they will still be married on paper. I believe that Kenya will get divorced before Ashley gets divorced. And that's saying a lot.
Wait, just because I'm keeping score at home here. Gizelle, good for the show. Ashley, not good for the show, Steele?
Both.
Man, see,
you have such a hard time
this.
saying that people aren't good for the show, though. It's so funny,
because
dude.
I love
Like,
Potomac. It's my favorite. So
I
I
get
will
it, but
never turn on. Look, do I think that Gizelle needs to? And now you're going to put me in a weird spot. Do I think Gizelle needs to bring more of her personal life? Yeah, she doesn't talk about anything about her life. The best scenes are watching her be a mom. She's a great mother. She's great with her children. Give me more of that kind of stuff. Let me peek behind the curtain and see, like, what your life is about, because it will make you more relatable. I think that she's stuck on this idea that everybody that is a fan of hers is a fan because she plays the villain. I think that it's some roadblock that she can't get past. And instead of allowing us to peek into her life and maybe get to know her and maybe like her, I think that she's scared to be vulnerable. So do I think that she's good for the show right now? No. But I
Okay.
think that she has played a necessary role in previous seasons to continue the narrative and continue the drama. I agree with Brooke in the fact that her move is tired now. The going after the spouses, the going after relationships, that has run its course. It ran its course immediately the first time she tried to do it because, Shooter and I say it all the time. When you start crossing the boundary of reality TV into messing with people's actual lives, it's no longer fun. I don't want to watch people try to tear down a marriage based off of rumors that they got off of a blog by some asshole in Kansas. Like, that's not what I want to watch. So when you cross those lines, no. And I think that she needs to reel it in, and I think she needs to take a different approach. Could I see Gizelle being successful in a different light? Yes, I could. I really can. And I think she's been on the show long enough to try to.
No chance. No chance.
Let me get it out. You asked the question. You asked the question.
You haven't answered the damn question. You've got this long-winded response. All I said was,
it's not a long-winded response.
For the show?
See what you invited on your show?
This is what for the show.
I think she's good for the show, and I think Ashley's good for the show because I stand by Potomac, and I will die on that hill. How about that, asshole? Right. Can we move on now?
I did not expect it for it to get so heated.
Welcome to the Brav Bros. This is what we do.
So Shooter, what do you think? You think Ashley and Gizelle? No.
I've been ready for Ashley. You can't have both of them on there. They do the exact same thing in different levels. I think Ashley, I've never understood why she's even on the show. She needs to go immediately. Gizelle, I think that what Steele said about, the family things, we like the family aspects because it's nice to see. However, that's going to get old soon too. So if all she does is hang out with her family and then she goes and does the normal shit, we're going to get annoyed with that. We need one of her personal stories to become a story for the show. She did it to everybody else. Now it's your turn, Gizelle. If she's not going to do that, then no, she can go too.
I'm going to give my answer.
What do you think?
SLC. I think that both of them can go. I think that I've said it in my podcast. No, I guess I just can't get with people being evil. There is a difference between being messy and shady, and you're talking about some little gossip versus you really have a heart to destroy people. I can't get with that. What Ashley's about to do in this upcoming season, I'm already livid. It's going to be a really toxic season. I think that Ashley is the most diabolical on that cast. The fact that that woman has gotten away with saying and doing some of the most crazy and heinous things, and she's walked away unscathed. I'm just confused. And I'm always like, is production, why aren't you guys playing the tapes back? Because when she talks about Candace being reckless, I just have to say, but Ashley, all the things that you've said about people, you said that your former castmate and your supposed, good friend was an alcoholic in season 3. Remember that when Monique had crashed her Bentley into the ditch and she went around saying that? So, and then, other things with talking about Juan and Robin. She talked about Katie like a dog. Katie had like a nervous breakdown. That's why Katie did not finish out the rest of that season 4. So I feel like Ashley has just done so many things. And with Ashley, she's one of those people who will do anything for a check. And when you have somebody who has nothing to lose, they'll do anything. There is no moral ground with Ashley. She will go as low as she can. And it's like when people like that are dangerous because they don't know when to stop. And I feel like you just can't have that. You just can't have that. There has to be a line somewhere where you say, you know what, we're on a show, we're making good money, but I'm not going to touch X, Y, and Z. Ashley doesn't have that. And Gizelle is second. I feel she does the same thing as well. But I feel like Ashley could have been fired season 6 when she brings nothing to this show. I honestly feel like she stayed on so long because of the Michael drama, because there was no reason for her to be on this show in the first place. And Gizelle, you guys already know. Yeah, I'm like, she can go.
Yeah, your facial expression every time that somebody even says Gizelle is so funny. You're just so fed up with her shit.
I'm so fed up. But I wanted to move on to SLC. The Salt Lake City ladies are killing it. And I know that we had a lot of thoughts when I was on your show a few weeks ago. So I'm dying to hear, where do you guys place everybody now? And I want to start off by asking you, what are we thinking about Monica Garcia?
I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming after we talked about it last time. So this is an interesting one because I want to base it off of what we're watching. I don't want to base it off of what's coming out in the press right now. However, because we are presented with new information outside of the show, you have to take it into account. It does shine a different light on the entire thing. If some of these allegations are true, I don't think that she stole Lisa's ring. I think that's a huge allegation. If that is true, like that's grand theft. That's 60 grand. Like you're going to prison for that. So that's a huge accusation to make. I don't know if that one's true, but the suing of Heather calls into question everything about Monica for me, because by her suing for a botched injection or whatever, we haven't seen any pictures of a botched injection. We haven't seen anything like that. It's a claim that she's making. And when you look back at the evidence that Heather presented, it's like, no, she was presented with a payment plan. It was like $450 up front, then like $200 a month for like 10 months, something like that. Nothing outrageous, but a payment plan. When you find out that she hasn't made one payment and now she's suing, now it's like, all right, when Heather comes out and says, this is what people do when they can't afford things and they try to backdoor it pretty much. I mean, it was different verbiage, but when you see that, now I start to look at the show. Now I start to look at the storyline. Now I start to look at the relationship with her mom. Everything aside, Linda is still a narcissist and a lunatic. That doesn't matter. But when you look at Monica's motives, why she's trying to push that storyline, why she invited her mom on the show, why she's playing the role of poor me, I don't have any money, Lisa, shut the fuck up about all your money. Now you start to put pieces together that I didn't see before. So now I see a Monica that I still am enjoying on TV. I still think that she's really good with this cast because she will say anything and she stands up to people that other people will not. She will get in Lisa Barlow's face, and most of the cast kind of balks at that opportunity. So to see her stand up to her, I like that. To see her with this I don't give a shit attitude, I like that. And I also, a lot of people love the cast members that are extravagant and have a ton of money and everything like that. And I do too. That's why we watch these shows for a lot, is to see lives like the lifestyles that we will never have is a big pull for this show. But I like having one person in the mix that kind of normalizes it, that comes from a vantage point that we can kind of resonate with because it's more similar to maybe our financial status or our social status, to where it's like, all right, what would I look like in this house? Like, what would I look like at a Greek Easter when everyone's like losing their minds? So what would it gives me a different perspective. That being said, I think that there's multiple ulterior motives here. I think that she's playing two games. And I think that the Monica that we were presented with on TV, and we all fell for it, Shooter and I fell for it as well. I think that given the recent information from Heather and the lawsuit, you have to start questioning what's her actual motives here on this show and start diving deeper into the storyline, start diving deeper into the shit that she's giving us in the evidence, because it doesn't all add up anymore. Now it's starting to get a little murky. And again, it's good TV.
I don't put as much emphasis on the news that's coming out, because if I look at it this way, I feel like she's told us who she is. She went through that whole span before the trip where she went out and she bought a bag and she felt really bad about that. The whole reason that payment plans in the first place exist is for people who can't afford the upfront payments, and she wants to spread it out over time. This is just kind of the cost of doing business. It sucks that it has to do with Heather. Steele and I talked about this the other day. I was sad to see that, because I liked the idea of Monica and Heather being sort of a good team, because there's no nonsense and they can just say whatever the hell they want. And I liked that. And I don't think we're going to get that next season. However, this season, I feel like, has been sort of like the perfect storm with Monica's coming onto the show. Lisa Barlow is an independent person now. Do we like her a whole lot this season? No, not really. I think she's going way too off the cuff, and we're finally seeing who she actually is. However, it's good for television. She is now kind of standing alone. Whitney has found some sort of footing where she still says whatever the hell pops in her mind, but at least now it's kind of pointed. At least in the past, it was kind of all over the place. She was a bit of a scatterbrain. Now she at least has some sort of motive. She at least has some sort of goal in mind when she brings things to other people's attention. So we're getting that, and Jen Shah being completely out of the picture lets all these people kind of move into who they're supposed to be on this show. You throw Monica in there, it's been like the absolute perfect storm about everything. It's been fun to watch. I'm going to look at it in a vacuum and completely ignore the allegations with the whole Heather thing and just look at what Monica can bring to the show. She is like fighting with a 16-year-old, and it's hilarious. She will just mimic you and say the exact same thing back to you and then do a funny face back at you when you're trying to fight with them. And I can guarantee you that none of these women have ever had a fight like that. They have no idea what's even going to hit them. And you can see that with Lisa during the sound bath, which, by the way, was the best sound bath I've ever seen in my life. She had to go through that, and she had no idea how to even combat it. Monica's not saying anything that's like hurting you or going against you. She's just picking on you like a teenager would in high school. And Lisa has no idea what to do. And it's so funny to watch because that's one thing that I do like to watch. Yes, we like to watch all the extravagance. We like to watch the cars, the houses, everything else. However, watching rich people squirm and try to figure out what the hell's going on and get them really uncomfortable is really funny. And that's something that I do actually want to look forward to, because if you're going to throw somebody in there who isn't this rich, extravagant person, but they do know how to fight and they are street smart, that's cool. I like that.
What about you? What's your thoughts on Monica? I know what they were originally. What are they at now?
I still have the same thoughts. Like, I understand where you guys are coming from. I get it. Yes, she makes good TV, but I can always tell when somebody's trying too hard and they're a bit too desperate.
Mhm.
I just feel like Monica just always wants a moment. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
I also feel like she is very insecure. I think that if you are going to be in this circle of women who have money, you have to have your self-esteem up. I just feel like Lisa triggers her. Yes, Lisa is not used to being challenged. A lot of these women aren't. And you can tell that she is bothered when Monica comes after her. And I'm not saying that Lisa is a saint, because she's not, but I still feel like Monica is triggered by her and she's very bothered by her because she feels that Lisa is living the life that she doesn't have. And I just feel like you can't join a circle and then have the nerve to be upset when you don't have what they have. You
Mhm.
willingly signed up to be on this show. They Bravo asked you, you said yes, you knew what it was. And now you want to say, oh, well, you make me insecure, or, you need to count your blessings. And it's like, but Lisa being happy about what she has, that shouldn't affect you. And her point is still null and void, saying that Lisa's materialistic because you ran out to Louis Vuitton and you bought a $5,000 bag and that you couldn't afford. And what does that say?
I agree with your points.
Well, both can be
However,
true. Yeah.
Both can be true. And
both
like
can
my
be
thing
true.
with Lisa, do I get that she can be proud of her shit? Totally. You should be. You worked hard for it. Enjoy your money. Shut up about it. And I like when they're flaunting their stuff, but Shooter always says like she's the most self-centered person. Like she's so in her own universe. Then we got why I love Whitney is because you get these random nuggets out of nowhere. And she's totally right. Like 1 out of every 20 statements, she hits it on the head. And you're like, whoa, where the hell did that come from? And we got that with this most recent episode. She's like,
Yes.
she's in a confessional and she's like, Lisa's so caught up in her own world and she's only concerned about her perspective. That's the only perspective that she has is her own. She can't see anything from anybody else's. So when you get two things that are true, like Shooter said, Monica's insecure. Clearly, we see that it's showing a lot.
Mhm.
Lisa is so self-absorbed and self-involved that she has to brag. She has to make it known that I am the HBIC. I have more money than all of you, and I'm going to tell you. And if you disagree with me, not only are you wrong, but now I'm going to put you down because you don't have the same things that I do. And that's not good TV. That's not funny. It's not a good comeback either. Like it's such an easy cop out for them to be like, oh yeah, well, I can crush you with my wallet. It's like, all right, well, be a little bit more inventive than that. Like, let me see your brain work a little bit more than look how flashy and rich I am. I like that she leans into it sometimes, but there's a limit. There's a point where I'm like, all right, now you're just obnoxious. And I used to love Lisa Barlow. I really did. And watching her this season, I have completely 180'd and watching her scene with Angie. And Angie's just trying to smooth it over. She's just trying to get back to neutral ground. She's saying everything she can other than, you know what? To hell with Monica. I'll never talk to her again, which she's not going to because she shouldn't. And if you do look at that previous conversation between the three of them, Monica's at least not trying to pit Angie against Lisa. That's the one thing we can give her credit for. Now, to watch Lisa not accept any apology, and then as Angie's talking, flip it around and get aggravated about the birdhouses again. It's like we're so far past that. And again, Heather slighted Angie. She's pissed at her. They squashed it. Your beef with Heather has nothing to do with Angie. Leave her alone. Instead, you're trying to force her to be like your exclusive friend, which is bizarre. And the fact that she doesn't want to do that has you so rattled and your brain is in such a pretzel that you can't process it. And now you're just saying stupid shit. You're saying mean things. And you're then putting it on her. It's like, that's not a me problem. That's a you problem. No, bro, that is not a her problem. You are so up your own ass. You can't see what she's saying. And then you put it back on Angie. And Angie, comeback of the century, because now I'm feeling for Angie. The last 2 episodes, she's had a good run. And I'm watching her. She has. And she's like squirming to try to figure out the right thing to say. She's just searching. What do you want from me, Lisa? I'm trying to give it to you. And Lisa can't get out of her own way. And I'm done with it. I'm over it.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And that was such a tough scene to watch. And I'm just trying to figure out how do you go against Lisa in that situation? The way that Lisa thinks, and again, she's so self-absorbed. She's that friend that wants you to immediately alienate anybody that she has beef with. However, the second that she squashes it or smooths anything over, she won't tell her other friends like, oh yeah, like me and Heather are good now. You just spent 6 months siding with Lisa and spurning over Heather and talking about how Heather's not a good friend. Now you're supposed to go back and be friends with Heather. That's tough to do. Lisa doesn't care about the collateral damage. She only cares about what she's doing. And that's what I got from this conversation with Angie. She wants Angie to have this blind loyalty. I've got beef with Monica. There's an issue here. You should be taking my side. If you're my friend, you should only be talking to me. You shouldn't be exchanging pleasantries with her. You shouldn't be joking with her. You shouldn't be smiling around her. I don't want to see any of that. However, 4 episodes from now, I might be able to squash the beef with Monica, and now you have to go groveling back to Monica to be friends with her again. That's not how the real world works. If there's 2 friends that want to be mutual friends, you don't have to be involved in that. Nobody cares. You just leave it alone. But Lisa wants and demands that blind loyalty, and she doesn't give any of that back.
That's what I want to touch on. And that's such a good point, because I'm all for being loyal. Like if someone has beef with like someone that I love, like I'm not going to be friends with them, obviously, but I need that back. And I feel like Lisa's one of those people where she expects blind loyalty, but she'll still be friends with your enemies.
Yes,
and
for
like
sure.
she's one of those people. And that's something I cannot stand. I thought that Lisa's whole demeanor when she had that conversation with Angie in the last episode, and she was like yelling at Angie at one point, and it was like, girl, Angie's so calm. She's coming in here so gracious, and you're screaming. Like, you don't need to do that. And I think that Angie's a bit too, I don't know what the
PC,
word is, too passive.
Yeah, she just doesn't want to she doesn't want to escalate. She tries her best to keep it here. And with Lisa, you have to meet her at the same level or she's going to walk all over you.
But I just didn't like how Lisa was getting angry. And I'm like, Lisa, she's just telling you how she feels. And her whole point was she didn't want to tell you how she felt because she was scared too, because she didn't want you to have this reaction. And you ended up having that reaction.
But that's a you problem. That's a you problem. That's not a me problem.
Don't blame your insecurities on me, okay? That's a you problem, Angie. That's really not a me problem.
That so good.
Exceptional.
But she sat there that whole conversation, and Steele and I talked about this last week. When you're talking to Lisa Barlow, if it's not something that directly involves her, she's just thinking about what she wants to say next. She wants to tell her next story. She's not even hearing what you're saying. But if it's something that does have anything to do with her, she zeroes in on it and then keys up certain words that piss her off or that she really likes. And she'll go in on those things. Otherwise, she's not really paying attention. She's just figuring out what she's going to say next.
I agree. Oh, I wanted to ask you guys quickly, what do you all think about Meredith this season?
Has she been on the show?
Yeah, what's she doing?
What's she doing?
I haven't seen her.
Oh yeah, she was in that car accident. Oops.
Oh yeah, she's making a podcast with Seth and they don't know how to record. Like, I don't know. I'm indifferent. Like, she's not doing anything. She's not bringing anything to the show. She planned the first trip and even that got taken over by Whitney. She couldn't even hold on to her own trip. So she had a great intro. the drunken mess that I saw at that dinner
Yes.
when they were out in Palm Springs I was like, wow, Meredith might be a rock star this season. And then since then, it's been crickets. It's been
Mhm.
nothing. And it's even more so when you see her get into altercations with people. Now she's taking this, like, I don't want to call it a high road because it's the most passive aggressive behavior I think I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's so dismissive that it's actually almost funny, but she just doesn't have time for anything.
Yeah,
She
she
has
doesn't
no
care.
time for anybody on this show. And it's like, that's not really why we're here. You need to bring something to it. So I think that maybe she's biding her. There is no way that she can keep quiet the whole season. Like, she has a certain limit. She's going to snap at some point, and it's going to be monumental because she's been bottling all this shit up. And I think it's going to come about because someone's going to question the car accident, which in the beginning, when that happened, I was sympathetic. I was like, it's Utah. She could have slid towards a cliff. That's really scary. But the music that Bravo put behind that scene was almost like circusy. It was like, da, 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 da. I was like, all right, well, that's interesting. And then Whitney's like, yeah, I drove by you in a snowbank. I didn't know that was you. Yeah, it wasn't even and she's like, you didn't even check on me. And it's like, well, it didn't seem like that serious of a situation is the vibe I got. So I think what's going to happen, my prediction is someone's going to call into question like how traumatic that event actually was. And I think that Meredith feeds off of sensitive subjects. I think that when it's a touchy subject, she plays the role of like, you're going to question my experience?
Yes.
How dare you? How dare you? And then it's going to like be this massive argument over nonsense. That's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to that. But as far as what she's done thus far, literally nothing. She
has those cop outs, and she did that at that dinner that whole night. All of her excuses for why she was acting and the weird behavior that she was putting out there. There's people starving somewhere. Don't you care about them? Like, nobody cares about that. So now she can drop all those things. And she had this huge life incident where she was hanging off of a cliff. So now when people try to start any shit with her at a dinner or whatever might happen in the future of the season, she can immediately turn to, I had a life-altering day where I was hanging off of the cliff and Whitney didn't care about me and I could have died that day. And that's going to be her cop-out when she doesn't feel like taking it to that next level.
Yeah, I definitely see Meredith doing that. I love Meredith, so I'm disappointed to see that she's been quiet in these last few episodes. I'm getting tired of these scenes with just her and Seth. And no shade to Seth, because he seems really sweet, but
I'll shade Seth. He's a fucking robot. That man is not a human being. He is a robot with a computer hard drive in like him and JB husband boss. Have you ever seen Lisa's phone when her husband calls her?
No. Oh, yes.
It says JB husband boss. So that's what I call him. But those two, and we saw it when they fought last year when they had that argument outside of the house. They are literally robots. They just like what?
John isn't. John is actually very personable, very nice. I met him twice. He's actually like he might be like nervous around the cameras.
Maybe
in person, he's actually like very cool. Like he was talkative. He's like really, really cool guy.
Or maybe he just knows his wife's not going to talk to him, so he just sounds monotone when he says things.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Now, but that's my take. I'll shade Seth. I don't care.
Now, I do want to discuss Beverly Hills. We are 3 episodes in. The 4th episode's coming on tonight. But how are we feeling about this season? I think that Beverly Hills is going to be in their bag. I'm excited. I think that we're gonna get some good drama, and I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've got such a good dynamic, a breath of fresh air, if you will, without Lisa Rinna there, without Diana Jenkins, who I have to constantly remind myself that she was even there in the first place because I completely blocked that out of my memory. But she's not there. Lisa's not there. We kind of get to see, obviously, Crystal has come sort of into the dynamic. She's getting closer and being more comfortable around everybody, which we need. We need everybody on the show to show a different side of their personality and get a little closer so that we can get that organic, toxic drama that's going to happen. We don't want that forced drama bullshit that we were fed all last year. We don't want any more issues. We don't want any of that. And I feel like we're actually going to get that. I do think that the biggest surprise of the entire season thus far is Erica Jane is completely different. I don't even know who that is. Like, we have no idea who this Erica is. And if she continues to do this, this is a pleasant surprise, because not only is she good on TV, but she's also not starting beef, and she's not doing that like searing, like talking through her teeth thing that she does when she gets angry. As long as we
she
don't
accentuates tease.
Yeah, she accentuates the tease.
Responsibility.
Exactly. And we're not going to get any of that. I feel like, obviously, I think we're going to get dragged down towards the end of the season with the whole Kyle and Mauricio stuff.
Mhm.
But if we can just have some semblance of a good time where they actually are friends, and then we get, some drama mixed in here and there, I think it's going to be a really good season. And it's going to be a good way to move on from the travesty that was last year.
Yeah, we got a lot of really good beginnings in these first few episodes. And to your point, what you were talking about, one of the pitfalls of Potomac recently in the past few seasons has been how negative it gets and how over the line it is with people's relationships and marriages and families, things like that. And I think that Beverly Hills went down that same path last year. And I think that we saw a different side of these ladies that we didn't really need to see. It got very personal. It got very dark, and it wasn't a good season of TV. And they gave us like 30 episodes of it. And 3 reunion episodes. So it was a very long season. So to come out of, and I think they knew the assignment. I think that's why they took a little pause in there, is to like reevaluate. All right, how are we going to present this season? And we need to do it in a different light. That's why we got the fantastic scene with Eagle Woman and Blue Raven, which those names are just amazing. But I think that sets the tone for what the goal is here. And like Shooter said, you're starting to see a different side of a couple of these ladies. I'm curious where Garcelle's going to go this year, like what her approach is going to be to this season. I'm excited to see what Crystal's going to bring, because we got her stepping out of her shell a little bit. And we did an interview with her, and she said that she kind of got shafted by production last year a few times, where she was talking a lot more and being more personable, but they just cut it out to make her, so it seemed like she wasn't bringing a lot. So to see her at the dinner table at Fuhu when they were eating sushi in Vegas, and like kind of pop off to Dorit, but then laugh it off, like, I wasn't that serious, I'm just messing with you. I was like, oh, I like that. Like, that's a new side. Okay, cool. To see Erica Jane be like, you know what? Whatever. I'm not letting this ruin my night. She had a bad night. I didn't. It's all good. I accept the apology. And then to get scenes from next week and see that dude on the elevator, and Erica Jane's like, oh, now you can apologize to my friend. I'm like, that's good. That's the perfect way to do this, because you're not like blowing up at the table or on the Sprinter van. You're letting it develop. And then there's an organic moment where it's like, oh, this is awkward. All right, now talk to him, bitch. Like, that's great. Like, I want more of that. So I think, like Shooter said very well, we want that organic toxic drama. We want that shit to come up organically, where we're not sitting there predicting what's going to happen next. Because last season you could probably write it down, you'd probably be right most of the time, like, this is going to happen next, then this is going to happen, then they're going to yell at this person, then Diane is going to be a lunatic, and then we got to see Asher sing again and his music career.
I do think that we need to bring Asher back for a Christmas party. I don't know where we are in this season. He needs to sing the song. We need Asher.
He does
back.
have to sing the song.
If we go to a Christmas party,
he's at right now. They just have another kid,
dude.
Him and Lisa Barlow can sing "Away in the Manger" together.
Oh God!
Only if Lisa raps again, because.
Now, I wanted to follow up, and I'm dying to know your thoughts about Sutton in last week's episode when she had a complete meltdown at Magic Mike. Do you believe that she was appalled about what she was seeing, or she was just jealous that she didn't get picked? Because I think that she was jealous that she wasn't one of the lucky women who got picked to go on the stage. That's just what I think.
I think that she was excited to go on the trip. It's almost like this was like her first bachelorette party, and she didn't know what to expect. And she's this God-fearing woman from Texas that doesn't know any better. And she has this idea of what strippers are because she watched like Flashdance or something from the 80s. She knows what's going on. Is that right? Is Flashdance a stripper? No. Showgirls is probably what I was going to go for. But anyway, so she was
not about stripping.
I thought it was about stripping. Whatever. Sounds like it. Anyway,
because of the iconic scene where she pulls the water down. That's stripping, you dickhead.
I thought it was well, all right. I never saw the movie. Anyway,
don't make the claim.
I thought it was going to stick. Anyway, I thought that that's what Sutton was doing. I thought she was really excited. She brought all these ones. She brought the pants. I don't think that she really knew what the hell was going to happen. So I feel like when she got in there, yes, I think there is some of that pick me energy, and she didn't get picked. And obviously we went through, she doesn't get a second date ever. Am I ever going to find a guy to be with? I just want to be desirable. And then of course we bookends that with the weird conversation at dinner where she talks about how she has 50 sex toys and she brings a bunch on the road with her. So you can't have it both ways, but I do feel like she did not know what to expect. So it started off with the pick me energy, and then she got to watch it and was absolutely blown away by what she saw on stage and was not expecting that. And I think that she was shell shocked. I really do. I think that it was starting off as a jealous energy that moved into a, what the hell am I doing here? I don't know what's going on. And only Sutton can do this, walking out saying that she's on the board for the ballet. Like that's just that's only Sutton could ever do that. And you never take it seriously. It's like, I don't know what you're venting about, but here you go. It's just wild to me that that's what's going to happen. I think that moving all of that aside, my biggest issue with how that all went down, yes, obviously Garcelle's close to her. She's going to go out and sit with her and make sure that she's okay. And she's not going to go back inside because, you know what? She was there for a little while. She's okay. She wants to make sure Sutton's good. Kyle standing around and then just egging her on and egging her on and egging her on and not going back and hanging out with her friends, that annoyed the shit out of me. If you go somewhere and one of your friends is uncomfortable and we're having a good time, I'll see you later, dude. Like, make sure, like, I want to see you're okay, but I'm going back inside because I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
Why did Kyle not go back inside? Instead, she just spent her time poking the bear at Sutton and making fun of her, and then got upset when Sutton lashed out at her. Like, you don't do that. Go back and have fun with your friends.
Yeah.
Erica and Dorit are still sitting there and having a great time saying, where'd everybody go?
And
You're part of that group. You
Yeah.
can't now say, well, Sutton ruined everybody's energy. No, just go back in. You're your own person. So I didn't really understand any of that. And I feel like that was like my issue with it all, because Sutton's going to Sutton.
Yes, Sutton is going to Sutton. And I think that, both can be true as well. I think that she was excited at the premise. I think that she doesn't know what a strip club actually is. And when she walked in, was like, oh my God, that man is in Erica's vagina with his face. And that's too much for me. And I think she got overwhelmed after already being upset she didn't get picked. So now her feelings are just kind of exacerbated. Put a bunch of tequila or vodka on top of that. And yeah, I mean, that reaction, I guarantee you she's not the first person to do that at a strip club. So I think Shooter's right, where once she storms off and has her fit, go back in. Not her, but like Kyle, go back inside. You don't need to sit there. Garcelle, if you want to go back inside, go back inside. And I think that the good thing about Sutton, and like we get it later at the dinner, like she will at least apologize the same evening. She will at least get to a place where she's like, all right, like, yeah, I was a little bit too much. It's my bad. I think she tried to overcorrect it by being like, no, I'm not a prude. I have sex toys. Like I didn't leave because of the sex and the stripping. I left because I don't know. I think she got overwhelmed in that moment and was just trying to throw things out there to seem like she was part of the cool kids.
Yes.
And I also think that a big part of that comes from insecurities because of how these women talk about her dating life. And I think that it goes from razzing to making fun.
Mhm.
And look, if she's out there in the dating pool, she's on the apps after being divorced, that cannot be easy. She was with the same guy. She knew her husband in like elementary school. Like
Mhm.
that's how long their relationship has been. So she's trying to get back out in the dating pool, and she's very quirky. We know that. She wears kitty sweaters to her first date. She tells her first date about her neuropathy. Like she doesn't have a whole lot of game, but she's trying her best. And I think that when your biggest insecurities are then relayed back to you via your friend group and used as a joke, like, oh, no wonder nobody's going to sleep with her. No wonder you don't go on a second date because she's awkwardly eating a fishball drunk. Eventually that shit's going to pile up. You know what I mean? And she's going to get to a point where now she's trying to defend herself at all times. So no, I'm not a prude. I'm like you guys. I have vibrators. I have all these sex toys. Like I know I left there, and it just gives them more ammo, and it crosses that line of like fun jawing and fun jabbing to a point where I'm feeling bad for her. Because I'm like, look, she's trying her best. She's dating. It can't be easy out there. She's got to protect herself as well because she has a ton of fucking money and she's on the apps. Like it's a tough dynamic. And do I think that she needs to lighten up a little bit? Yeah. At the same time, do I think that the group needs to lay off of her a little bit? Yeah.
I agree. So I agree with what both of you guys said, hands down. I guess I just feel like Sutton, you do know what you were getting into. Like, you know, this group, everybody has slick mouths, the shade is flying. The minute they find out about an insecurity or vulnerability, they're going to use it. So I feel like you need to have thicker skin. And again, what you said is 100% valid. They threw her biggest insecurity in her face. That's not right. You shouldn't do that in real life or on a show. But being that you guys are on a show and you know that people need storylines and talking points, you should just be prepared that that might be used.
Yeah.
And I feel like she should have checked her attitude at the door, because obviously that dating conversation earlier when they got there was still weighing on her, because you could tell she was pissed. Because when she said to Garcelle, well, Garcelle, when you get a date, then you can talk to me about a second date. So like when she said that, you could tell that she felt some sort of way about it. And I felt like, had she just addressed it, you know what, that conversation actually hurt my feelings, I think that she would have let it go and she would have been in better spirits for the strip club. I think had she just gotten that off of her chest. But I feel like it was a buildup because she didn't address that she was still feeling away from that conversation. Then things just piled on and got worse. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do want to quickly touch on Kyle and Mauricio and what they have going on. Do you think that they're still faking for a storyline? What do y'all think?
Oh boy. You go, Shoots. Let's hear what you
I'll
got.
start it off. This is even, I mean, we talked about the Juan and Robin thing earlier. This is even murkier. We don't know shit when it comes to this, and there's so much going on. I think what we're most upset about is that Kyle is carrying on out in this going on Morgan Wade's video with her and being like sexually explicit in the video and talking about this and getting her tattooed. She's doing all of these things. And I feel like she's just kind of like lashing out. So you could go so many different ways with this. It could be another, maybe not an arrangement, but there could be, you know, nothing left in that marriage. And maybe they've known that for years and years. And it's finally starting to bottle up now that Kyle is no longer drinking and she wants to change her life. And now she's realizing maybe the source of her unhappiness is this stale marriage that they're kind of throwing together as a facade for the sake of their children. I don't really know. I think that's probably my best guess as to what's going on. There's just no information that's coming out. I mean, Mauricio is going on dates, and we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Mauricio is going on dates with his Dancing with the Stars co-star, and, you know, maybe it was a date, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was I need to be able to figure out how this person eats food so that I can dance with them better. I don't know. I've never had a Dancing with the Stars partner. Who knows? There's a lot of excuses you can throw out there, but that's what we're resorting to. We're trying to figure out, we're trying to see any breadcrumbs that we can find possible. And that's what we're left with. And there's just nothing there aside from what Kyle's been doing out in the press and talking about it constantly. I don't know. I don't think it's all for the show at all. I think that it finally hit a boiling point at some point during the off season. And now somebody kind of sunk their teeth into it. And they're trying to get them to come out into the show. And now, obviously, all the editing is going to be surrounding what's going on with this marriage. We wouldn't have even looked twice at a conversation between Kyle and Mo about Mo going golfing and working too much. We would have been like, all right, whatever. That kind of sucks. I feel bad for Kyle, but okay, whatever. They're a great relationship. Now we're looking for every little detail that we can possibly find to try to nail it down. And there's just not a lot out there. So I'm going to go and firmly stand in the corner of something hit a boiling point over this offseason. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was Kyle stopping drinking and changing her life. Mm-hmm. And now we're kind of here at this point in time. They could have honestly just been in a stale marriage for years and we just didn't know.
Yeah. And I think, you know, as Shooter said, there's not a whole lot of tangible evidence here. There's rumors about Mo cheating for years. We've heard those. Now we have, I mean, not evidence, but the relationship with Morgan Wade's bizarre. Know how, like, whichever way you want to cut it, and I don't care that they're friends. I could give a shit. Great, cool. Follow her around the country on her tour. I don't care at all. But when you go in the media and say, like, no, we're not together, and then you make a music video where you guys are pretty much giving everybody the middle finger by, like, getting this close and almost kissing, and you can't tell me that there wasn't a take in there where they actually did kiss. Like, that had to have happened in my mind. And then she's going to, in return, get pissed off because Mo is getting sushi with his Dancing with the Stars partner. She's like, that really hurt me. It's like, well, you can't have it both ways. You can go out with Morgan Wade and do your thing, and people can speculate. People can go speculate about Mo. But the biggest red flag for me, and what I've noticed the most, again, it's body language for me. Watching those two interact in any other season, they're light, they're fun, they seem like a genuine couple, like they like to hang out. They don't just love each other, they like each other. Like they jab back and forth, they just seem so comfortable. This season, when you see them in the same room together, you can feel the tension through the screen. They're barely talking to each other. She's getting mad at how he's getting guacamole out of a container. He's getting mad that she's telling him to get the guacamole out of the container with a spoon. Like they're getting mad about the littlest shit. And that just tells me. And then I start to put my tinfoil hat on and start to think about like conspiracy theories. I'm like, all right, well, clearly something major happened between these two. And is it Mo cheating? Maybe. Like we don't have any tangible evidence. So I don't want to make a claim that someone's being unfaithful when I don't have any actual like firm evidence on it. But you can't tell me when you watch these two in the same room together that something did not change. And it's not something little where she just realized like, oh, I'm sober now. I lost a friend to suicide. I'm reeling and I'm pushing away from my marriage because I just need something different in my life. The way that they interact together tells me that there's something deeper here. The issue with Kyle and Mo, are we ever going to get that? I don't think so. And the only way that we do, and I said this to Shooter a couple of weeks ago, if the end of this season, when they picked up cameras to start filming again, when the stuff with Kyle and Mo started coming out, if we get a firm answer as to what happened, then yeah, I believe it was for the show. If we don't, then I believe that this is real and that this is something that they're going through. It might be being played up for the cameras because this is their job. And if they find out like, all right, this might be a good storyline, I might lean into it a little bit, but not fabricate it. Fine. I'm okay with that. But if we get a firm, like confirmed, here's what happened at the very end of the season when they pick cameras back up, because they're now picking up cameras for every single show. Something's happening like 2 weeks after the show stops filming. And they're like, oh shit, another scandal, guys. Let's pick the cameras up and get over there. If they capture something in those 2 weeks after, I'm calling bullshit.
Oh, well, the reason why I feel like they're not faking, because the way Kyle was crying at BravoCon, and like I was there, so I was in the VIP section, by the way. So I was like in the 4th row, so I saw firsthand, like she was really broken up about it. And she was like, guys, I really can't say much. Like, it's just a lot. And she was really torn up. So I feel like, no, I just could not imagine somebody playing around like this just for a storyline to be on a show.
It would be shocking if they did. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be shocking. But their body language, though, you really can't fake that. You can tell when people are acting and putting on, and they're not acting, like they really are having some issues. So again, I just don't think that they can fake this. There's just no way.
Well, Kyle's been in
I don't
movies.
either.
I don't know if you saw Halloween, but you know, she's an actress.
The shade of it all. And on that note, we're going to end it here. But I just wanted to say thank you all so much for coming on. If there's anything that you want to promote, please let my subscribers know where they can find you guys.
Well, first and foremost, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Brav Bros Podcast. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. It helps us immensely. You have no idea what just clicking that little button does for us and for our platform. We'd really appreciate it. Give us a listen. You can also follow us at Brav_Bros across all social media. And this Sunday night, November 19th, if you are in LA, we have a live show at the Bourbon Room. I think it's almost sold out, but there might be a couple of tickets left. It's with Zach Peter. It's a no filter Friendsgiving. Donna Bowling from Daily Dose of Donna is going to be there. There's a few Bravo Levs coming out. So it's going to be a great time. If you cannot make it to LA, it's also live streaming. So you can live stream it. Go to nofilterlive.com, and it has the link to the live stream there. And yeah, other than that, Eagles are 8-1, so go Birds.
Shooter, anything before we close out?
No, I'm good. I'm all set. I feel like I got it all out.
Oh, awesome. Well, again, thank you all so much for coming. I had the best time, and we'll have to do this again soon. And guys, I hope you all enjoy you know me, it's your girl, the Brooke Ashley. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you all later. Bye.